101.1 WCBS FM and WCBS FM HD1 New York.
The views and opinions expressed on Dialogue 101 are solely those of our guests and not necessarily those of WCBS FM or CBS Inc.
This is Dialogue 101, a presentation from WCBS FM, addressing public concerns and community issues. Here's your host, Deborah Gordon.
Good morning. I'm Deb Gordon, and my guest is Joe Little, Community Relations Manager at the New York Rescue Mission. Joe, welcome to the show. Happy New Year.
Hi, Deb. Happy New Year to you.
Great to have you here. So the Rescue Mission has a couple of events happening, to kick off the new year. And so we're going to go into detail about all of them. But first, give us some background on the Rescue Mission. I understand that it's America's first rescue mission. Tell us more.
It's New York City's first rescue mission. It's America's first rescue mission. It all started in Lower Manhattan in 1872. Started by a scoundrel, by a knucklehead by the name of Jerry McCauley, and he served time in Sing Sing. That's how much of a knucklehead he was, and he was a river thief. And he broke the law hundreds of times, but he was convicted for a crime he did not commit. So he was bitter and a knucklehead, and in prison. And God turned his life around while in prison. He was basically converted and just saw the error of his ways. He got out of prison, eventually was pardoned actually, and he had a heart for the poor. He had a heart for the people on the margin, people on the outskirts, people who have shot themselves in the foot, who have been shot in the foot. And his wife was the same way. They got married, and they were both from the wrong side of the tracks. And in 1872, they started the mission, the Helping Hand for Men at the time. Eventually became known as the Macaulay Water Street Mission, now known as the New York City Rescue Mission. And we've been doing the same thing that they started in October of 1872, feeding the hungry, giving rest to the weary, and encouraging the hopeless, because you can feed someone, but if they have lost hope, as so many have, then it's just a very maudlin situation. But we see the turnaround stories there every day. Yeah,
I'm sure. And, again, as you say, many people have lost hope, but Mr. McCauley is a prime example of redemption, and it's wonderful that he was able to turn that negative into such a positive and create this. So what would you consider to be the primary goal of the mission?
Well, it's exactly that. It's feeding the hungry, and we feed about 400, as many as 500 a day at the mission. This is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This is primarily at dinner time. We have a big dinner, and anyone and his brother and his sister can come in. If they knock on our door, we will feed them. We will move earth and wind and fire to feed them. We also we give rest to the weary. We have 100 beds. This is for men. It's a very small venue. And people are, it's bitter cold right now, and we see an influx of folks, of men who are being driven inside. These are men who are independent and rough around the edges, and a lot of them would rather not come indoors. But they've been hurt by people in life, and they want to live on the outskirts, but the cold is driving them inside, and we are there to accommodate them. We even are authorized by the city of New York to open up our chapel and our dining room for emergency sleeping purposes, and we can put down as many as 40 or 50 mats, and so it's amazing to see our dining room with people sleeping in it.
Well, yeah, as you say, a few days ago it was really bitter cold, and I know that a lot of people prefer to stay on the streets, but with a place like the New York City Rescue Mission, which is such a great environment. I mean, I actually had the pleasure of visiting the facility a couple of times, and although there's a lot going on, I think that you and all the people that work there really do a great job in running it. And I understand that, there are, of course, a variety of rescue missions across the country, but many of them are modeled after New York City Rescue Mission.
We were, yes, Deb, we were the first, and thanks for mentioning that. Jerry and Mariah McCauley, they were such an inspiration. They were cut from the same cloth as the people they were serving, and the people knew that. And so it wasn't a top-down thing. It was very mutual respect. And I think that's in our DNA. Our current executive director, Jim Varnhagen, he has modeled this for 21 years. And so we work in the same place that we serve at, and we even see the guys. We have a small residential recovery program, and this is where a lot of the hope comes in, where we encourage guys to come into the program and be healed and help each other and go through a residential recovery program where they're going through the 12 steps, and they're wrestling with themselves and with each other and with God. And they come out, and we have a graduation ceremony where as many as 7-8 guys are in their blue caps and gowns, and it's bittersweet, and they tell their bittersweet stories. And it's a springboard for the men back into the community, and there's not a dry eye in the house on those evenings.
And so you referenced God a few times, but we want to say that although the mission is faith-based, it's open to everyone, correct?
We love everyone to come in. We have atheists. We have the local synagogue, Rabbi Glass. We love when Rabbi Glass will serve with us. So, yeah, anyone and his brother and his sister can come in and serve. We need people to come in and serve in the New York City community. We thrive on it. It's not only the help that they bring, but it's the enthusiasm that they bring. It's the encouragement, the spirit. It's new blood, and the men and the women that we serve see that, and they are encouraged by it because they know me, and they know some of the staff there, and they know some of the residents in the program that help serve and help the program go. But to see the community come in and support it in a big way is such an encouragement, and lifts the boat even for the staff as well.
And so talk a little bit more about some of the people that you serve. They not only have substance abuse and alcohol abuse issues, but some of them suffer from social issues and alienation. So tell us a little bit about how that recovery program helps to combat that.
I'm so impressed by the men in our residential recovery program. They stick their neck out. Everyone in the world has problems, and most of us have bigger problems than we care to admit. And the men that come into the program and finally take that step and come in and actually live there for 8-9 months and work on their problems are really admitting something, and they're being transparent and vulnerable. We have guys that graduate, and maybe they'll eventually lose their job again, and they have the chutzpah, the grace, the common sense, the humility to come back and say, I need a place to stay, and I need to to get back on my feet, and we are there for them. And we see this every day. And a friend of mine, Warren, he came back the other day and he said, yeah, I've had a job for 3 straight years. We love it. And he had been reunited with his son after 20 years. And I said, Warren, you can have a strong guy that is a knucklehead, or you can have a weak guy that is a gentleman, but you're a strong gentleman. And we appreciate you coming back into the program. We're serving you, but you're also blessing us with your presence.
And I know that the program places a priority on education. Tell us why that's so important.
Well, we're trying to address the whole man. We serve men, women, and children, but in our program, these men, some of them are educated, some of them are not. Even if they are educated, they have fallen through the cracks and have drugs and alcohol have gotten the best of them, and they need to regroup educationally, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically. And we have a computer room, and we have a staff that does a lot of GED work and a lot of job prep work. And guys that have no knowledge of computers, or virtually no, they come out and they know more about computers than I do. And so they are kind of sort of ready for the 21st century. And that is part of the graduation process, is what did you learn, not only about yourself and about your problems, but also about what you need to do to be reacclimated to society and to your old job, or perhaps a new job, perhaps reuniting with your wife or your fiance. And so when men are reunited with their families and with their jobs and with their employers, that is a very exciting thing to see.
Absolutely. And so it's great that the men are able to take courses, but I'm just imagining that they have to be limited, correct? So how do you determine who gets into what course?
Well, overwhelmingly, it's GED, and so that they actually do the tutoring on site, and so we have volunteers that come in, and that's where New York City residents can come in and help us, because so many of your listeners are educated people, and perhaps they have an hour or two to spare once a week, and the New York City Rescue Mission would love to hear from them, because these guys need a helping hand, and they're very gentlemanly fellows. They're in a good place, they're in a good mindset, and they're ready to be taught and to be tutored and to be helped with math or English or etc. So as long as there's computers available, that's kind of the basis for it. And we have about a dozen computers, and so there's always someone on the computer at the New York City Rescue Mission improving their education and improving their job readiness.
And again, as you mentioned earlier, the facility also puts the men to work within the facility.
We couldn't do it without. We couldn't serve the poor at the New York City Rescue Mission without the work rehab chores and work and good habits of the men in the program. And it's kind of a very nice cycle where they used to be homeless. They used to be poor. They still are in large measure, but they are not poor in spirit, and they are working. They're getting up early. They're on a schedule. They're doing the laundry for the mission, or they're doing the security, or helping out in the kitchen, or any number of things, helping each other in the computer room. So without their work rehab progress and energy, it would be a very, very hard thing at the mission.
Well, I have featured a variety of different organizations on the topic of homelessness, and always a big focus is on the fact that we want to find concrete solutions to homelessness. And I think that, your program is a big step towards that. I mean, allowing these men the experience to work and become educated and become part of society again.
I'm always impressed at the graduation ceremony when the guys, they might reference God, or they might thank the staff, or they might thank a volunteer tutor, but they reference each other. And that is so much a part of the solution, is the men, iron sharpening iron, men helping men. The brother coming alongside you will reinforce something that Ma or Pa tried to help you with but couldn't get through to you. A brother or cousin comes along mutually beside you and gets it done, because it's mutual and you're both going in the same direction.
Well, I remember when I visited, a couple of the residents, or a couple of the people that I met, told me that they were residents, and if they did not say that, I would never have known.
Would you have thought that they were transient guests, the homeless, in other words, or volunteers?
Right. Yeah, volunteers. Yeah. So I'm just saying that I think that's a testament to how well the program works.
I have to ask so often, are you a volunteer? Are you a transient guest? Are you a new resident in the program? Are you a new staff person or a new intern? It's a hard question.
That's awesome. And, I'm sure that there are plenty of success stories. I mean, you mentioned a couple, but is there any one story that comes to mind that you'd like to share?
Bob Harvey. Bob Harvey is here in the city, and he grew up with alcohol. And later in life, he got into the hard drugs, and his sister and his boss ganged up and said, "You're out of control. You are about to lose everything." And they said, they knew about the New York City Rescue Mission, and they said, "You have got to get to there's no other choice. We're going to kick you out of the house. We're going to kick you out of your job. Get to the New York City Rescue Mission for help." And he was just in a bad way. And this is about the time that I came on board 8 years ago. And Bob, he had a little conversion, so to speak, just a practical conversion down at Ocean Grove, New Jersey. We have a little trip there every summer to give the guys a break, and he turned his life around. He says to this day that he doesn't struggle with alcohol. He doesn't struggle with drugs, which is a little tiny miracle, because most guys do, of course. But he got remarried. He walked his daughter down the aisle. He got his old job back. He got a promotion. And this is just one out of many. But it's indicative of what can happen and what so often does happen. He's he's a walking billboard for the New York City Rescue Mission, and I suppose he might come on CBS FM before it's over with.
Bob Harvey. That's awesome. Congratulations to Bob Harvey and to all the men. But, you did mention that there is a big struggle, like with everyone in life. And so are graduates allowed to come back if they need to, if unfortunately they relapse or something?
We encourage folks to come back if they need help. We after someone graduates from the program, they are allowed to stay at least 3 months. We want them to get a job, maintain relationships with other graduates or friends, good friends in the community, and so we want them to save money. So that New York City is a very expensive place to stay. So, let alone to get a job and to pay the bills. So we see guys get a job. We see them hold on to the job, but sometimes the job ends or they might stumble again. And we're just so encouraged when they come back because the human nature is I stumbled once. I don't want to come back because now I really look like a bad guy. I'm stumbling 3 or 4 times, but they come back and they admit their problem and they get, and sometimes it's true the third time. The third time is the charm sometimes, where it finally sticks and it's permanent after they have returned to the mission. So yeah, we love I hate to see it, but I love to see it when they come back.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, again, as you said, many of the former residents come back in a very positive circumstance to volunteer or become on staff, so that's awesome.
Bob is great. Warren is great. We have a lot of guys that come back and counsel the guys or just pitch in at the banquets or some of the special events, and so that's very nice to see.
Well, that's what I was just thinking about. I'm sure that many of them will be at the Martin Luther King Jr. event, so tell us about that and what it is.
Oh, Gloria Williams. It starts and stops with Gloria Williams. Gloria is this figure. I think she's been doing it for 1,000 years. We're only 140 years old at the mission, but I think she's been doing it for 1,000 years. She and her friends and family come from Queens. Her husband is an American Legion stalwart in Harlem, and so he brings his Harlem gang, and they come down and they do a home-cooked chicken meal, fried chicken. What Martin Luther King Jr. would love. We love it to death. It's greens. You can eat greens for medicinal purposes, but to have the greens that are just melt in your mouth and the cornbread. So the men that know that Martin Luther King Jr. Holiday is rolling around, and they know that Gloria Williams will return. It's like the calendar. It's like clockwork. So she's just a prime example of the community, the New York City community, stepping up and buying in and loving what we do and being a part of the service to the poor and the change to the poor as well, making them rich in spirit and improving their bearing and their standing.
So people from the community also come in to help serve the food?
Oh yes, that's a tight evening. Martin Luther King, Monday. That Monday is a very tight evening because Gloria Williams brings her gang. But we love, the other 364 days of the year, we love for folks to come and help us serve a meal, and that's just something that we do every night at lunchtime, at breakfast time. We had a group that came in Christmas Eve at 6 a.m. to help serve breakfast. Now that's a special thing for them, but heck, it was so special. I decided to get up and see all, come over and talk to them. Why are you here at 6 a.m. Helping us? And they just said it's just something that we wanted to do to give back or to encourage the New York City Rescue Mission and what they're doing. And I said, well, that's good enough for me.
Right, and I love the fact that, again, there are a variety of different things that the mission does throughout the year and special holidays, but this Martin Luther King Jr. event, you say it's tight, but at least it puts us in the mindset. They could come for
lunchtime even.
No, at least it puts them in the mindset of maybe volunteering somewhere else, because I like the idea of having the community get involved in service-related things on that day as opposed to going shopping or anything like that. So, and, of course, at the mission, they'll get to really serve some really good food as well, which I can see from your face you're looking forward to.
I'm getting hungry just speaking of it right now.
Right. And so Super Bowl Sunday is coming up on February 5th. And to coincide with that, the Rescue Mission is going to have its own Super Bowl with a special emphasis on the soup. So tell the audience what your Super Bowl is.
Yeah, there are different segments of New York society that come and help. It's churches, it's synagogues, it's citizens, it's children from schools that come and help out and get a tour. During Super Bowl week, we serve soup. We always serve soup, but in conjunction with the meal that we're serving. But it's a special week leading up to Super Bowl, of course, and hopefully the Giants will be in it this year.
Okay.
But guys like David Boulay have been doing it for years and are back with us this year. Wade Birch, your friend Vikas Khanna, who you served with, and this guy, he's voted the sexiest guy in India. Year after year, he's got a big pro thing in India. He's a big star here in New York City. So we love when all segments of society help the rich, the poor, the folks that only have an hour to spare. A one-time service with us, one-time help is great. So that week we have David Boulay, we have Vikas Khanna, we have Katie Lee from CBS in the morning. We have Wade Birch, we have the original Soup Man. We're trying to get Shaq. Shaq, if you're listening, we want Shaq because he's with them, and so it's a fun time. Mark Gastineau comes in. And celebrities and the guys respond to this that are being served. It's a festive time. It's the coldest time. It's the coldest, darkest time of the year, and we want to brighten things up, akin to Christmas, akin to New Year's, and warm not only the bellies but the spirits as well.
Yeah, well, I was amazed. I mean, these are gourmet meals by some of the finest chefs,
This is a week or two after the Martin Luther King Day, and so it's a very good time to be at the New York City Rescue Mission. And if it were just serving the poor, that would be great. But again, we're also in the business of turning lives around.
Very good point. And I know that Mayor Bloomberg has talked about this event, how special it is. So
we love Mayor Bloomberg. He comes by. He gives us a proclamation for our Mother's Day banquet and also our Super Bowl week, and that's a cornerstone there. It gives a legitimacy to the whole thing that the chefs can buy into and the media can buy into as well.
Mm-hmm. And it's really a creative way to feed the hungry at this time of year. So, and another way that the mission also helps to feed the hungry throughout the year is with a food pantry. So tell us more about that.
We've seen a spike not only in serving the poor, the working poor. This is these folks are not homeless, but they are at wit's end. They are not making ends meet. They come to us in the afternoon, and we have a food pantry, and this is bags of groceries, and they can come once a week. We can't feed the whole wide world, but we can help folks once a week. So they will come in. We see them every day, but an individual can come in for a bag of groceries. It supplements like a family, an entire family. That's how many groceries are in the food pantry bag. So even helping out with packing food pantry bags is a big thing that an afternoon volunteer could come alongside us and help out with that. So the homeless, the working poor.
What are the hours of the pantry?
This is about 2:00 in the afternoon. And so it's
okay.
for about an hour and a half. And it used to be that we would see a handful of folks, but in the last year or so, we'll see a packed lobby of folks, and we're glad to serve them, but it's heartbreaking to see folks that, again, are making themselves vulnerable and admitting that they need help and that they need a handout, but we're there not only to help them with that, but to also encourage them and to bless them with our face and our encouragement.
Well, that's the thing. Again, I've been able to see your work firsthand, and I must say that you're always very upbeat and cordial when the people come in, and it's really special to watch. And I'm not just saying that.
Well, it takes one to know one, Deb, and you bring your bright smile, and we look forward to seeing you during Super Bowl week. Hopefully, we haven't locked you in yet, but we're working on it.
Well, I wanted you to tell us what it is that makes you work so hard on behalf of the disenfranchised in our community.
It's the Bob Harveys of the world. It's the Warrens of the world. The guys in the program right now, Chad, and guys that just graduated, Budrow, and the list goes on, and it's a never-ending stream. The poor we will always have with us, and what are we going to do? Well, there's different things you can do with or for the poor, and different bold love things and strategies. There's different philosophies, and we're just there to not be a crutch, but to be a help and to be an encouragement, a safety net, which is hopefully a springboard. And so much of it is face to face. Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do 24/7 since 1872. And we love for folks in the community even to come to our Facebook page. I know that's where you're going. What can people do? We have stories to tell, and we see them every day. And we love when people hear and see these stories at our NYC Rescue Mission Facebook site. And so, if people, that's one way that people can actually support us, is to read about it, to see it, to hear it, and to share it with their friends.
And do you also accept donations of food for the pantry?
We love for folks in Lower Manhattan in New York City to come and bring food. City Harvest, I forgot to mention them. City Harvest and the Food Bank for New York City. We could not do it without them. The Food Bank for New York City has a low cost or free food for us. City Harvest, they do an amazing thing. They go around and collect the perfectly good food at the end of the day. And this is food that, a week from now won't be any good. But right now and for the next 29 hours, it's perfectly good. But it's going to go bad if it's not, gotten to a good place, a food pantry, a soup kitchen. We couldn't do it without those two organizations. So it's just a many splendid thing. And and also our website, nycrescue.org. If someone wants to throw us $1 or $2, that is a very streamlined, simple, easy way to do that.
Okay. And I saw on the news during the holiday season that you guys were collecting coats for the needy. So what are some of the current needs? I mean, I'm sure that warm clothing is still important.
We have people that knit socks for us, or knit gloves, or knit hats. The New York Cares did this with us and Christmas Day, and we saw an influx of folks needing a coat. And the guys in the program even receive a coat, and they are encouraged that someone thoughtfully gave and thoughtfully reached out with a warm coat. They feel the warmth. It's not just physical, it's psychological. It's a boost. People can come by for a tour. My name is Joe. I'll give them a tour at the drop of a hat. They can call us up. They can bring a group and they can serve. There's just any number of ways to serve and to assist the New York City Rescue Mission in its assistance to the poor.
And actually tell us where the mission is located.
We are, for 140 years, we've been in Lower Manhattan. For the last 40 or 50 years, we've been on Lafayette Street. This is 2 blocks south of Canal Street, the corner of Lafayette and White. And this is 90 Lafayette Street, and it's a good place to be. A lot of warmth and cordiality. It's a family, familial type of environment with a lot of encouraging words. So we encourage folks to stop by at the drop of a hat even.
I can attest to that. And also just, you mentioned that there are overnight stays, but I just wondered what the criteria for admission would be.
If you knock on our door, if you are a man and you need a bed and we haven't seen you before, you get, no questions asked, 7 straight nights of rest, of bed, of accommodations. And after that, it's a lottery system. So because there's just so much demand for a bed in New York City, we are actually in the midst of a capital campaign to double the sleeping capacity of the New York City Rescue Mission. We are very confident that this spring even, new construction will happen so that we can actually add 3 floors to the mission and add to the beds, because so many guys need a place to sleep tonight in the bitter cold. And with help from the community, we're right on the precipice of making that happen. Yeah,
and I'm sure just having somebody come for the first time and being able to sleep for 7 nights, especially in the bitter cold, can make all the difference in the world in a transition.
And even after that, there's about an 80-85% chance of getting a bed. It varies, but even if they don't get a bed in this winter season, they can get a mat on the floor, and it's heartbreaking when guys will turn that down and prefer to be in the bitter cold on the street to having a safe mat in a safe environment. But we see that sometimes, not often, but overwhelmingly they get a bunk bed or they'll get a mat on the floor in the wintertime. But yeah, we need more space, and we're moving upward and onward. And with your help, Deb, we'll make it happen.
Wow. Well, it's my pleasure, really. I mean, thank you very much for coming here, and also thanks for all you do in the community.
You're welcome, Deb. Thank you.
Okay, so again, where can we learn more about all that's happening at the New York Rescue Mission?
NYC Rescue Mission Facebook, NYC Rescue Twitter page, and the nycrescue.org website. And they can also call. I guess we still have telephones. They can call 212-226-6214. We have nice folks that will answer the phone.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm Deb Gordon, and I've been speaking with Joe Little of the New York City Rescue Mission. Joe, again, thanks so much for appearing on the show, and good luck with everything.
Thank you, Deb.
Again, for more information, visit nycrescue.org. We'll be right back with more, so please stay tuned.